Hi everybody, your monthlies are finally coming out. I really had to kind of resolve in my own head how to do it to balance between everything I want to do for you and my current inability to actually donate as much time. So I decided to go free flow. And free flow, it's not going to have any kind of spread attached to it. I'm simply going to ask possibly different decks to give me messages for you. And we'll go with that. And this is sort of like really high level message that, it's going to tell you where you can go and to what you can amount and what you have to watch for. Like sort of like basic kind of like let's go for it kind of thing. I'm going to give in my bi-weeklies, which are always on the 1st and 15th published. So I'm sticking to that. And for those of you who are looking for X situation on and off, like there are also those series that are coming out every month. Now, before I move further, I actually want to send a shout out to everybody, and hopefully you will be joining in this particular proposal that I have. So I'm in the process of actually building my own card deck. It is collaboration between me and Mira, a wonderful, extraordinary artist. And so we are bouncing off the ideas back and forth. She's adding her basically touch to it, and everything that I have seen so far is like coming out really wonderfully. Now, I would actually like you guys to have your own touch to this basically making. And so I'm not doing this haphazardly. I don't know how much you know about me. I'm also a marketing professional. So I'm trying to select a group of people, 10 to 20, that, can give their 2 cents. And this is not like kind of a call for you giving accolades. This is really, I can understand this message in it. No, I cannot understand message in it, because that way you're going to set us straight to be on the right path. And so I'm trying to actually select these 20 to have men and women, people from all walks of life, people with all kind of tarot experiences, from, hey, I'm just here to watch it, to, yay, I am basically a guru. So if you guys are willing to jump on board, please go to www.cattarot.ca/focus group and just like submit your application. Why do you think you should be the one in that group? And I really, really appreciate everybody doing that. This is non-paid position, and it's purposely non-paid position because I do want you to give me a rough time. And this way, it's going to be a really wonderful creation, because sometimes I may be too much up in the air. I'm an air sign, and maybe I need to be grounded a little bit more because I really like abstract. Other people really like ground. So hence, this collaborative kind of like pointers would really help to set me and Mira sailing in a better direction. And it's going to be a few rounds of this. This is a very, very first preliminary round. And I'm really, really thanking in advance to everybody who actually spent time even listening to this plea, and especially to those who actually apply or participate in a study. Thank you so much, and I look forward to applications. All the best. And now for the rest of us, let's jump right into the reading. Hi Leo, and welcome to your monthly. So it's kind of like a really interesting reading over here. I was really trying to see if I approach it the same way as I approach the other signs, or do I approach it differently, because it looks like you guys will have lots of adjustment this month. Adjustment in the way you think, what you want, where you are heading. So let's do it the same way I'm doing the other signs. The first is the rune. So I pick up the root Tiwaz, which is the rune of commitment. And this is named after the Norse god of war and justice. So the appearance, and by the way, we have a judgment card here as well. So the appearance of this suggests conflict of some type. It also indicates a struggle that is just and necessary. In symbolism, it is linked to the Polaris, the North Star. The Anglo-Saxon basically poems speak about that, but also I think it talks about something that is a guiding star, which kind of goes back to this star kind of like really never fails, right? And this is a guidance to you during the night, sort of like along those lines. So Tiwaz is the rune of promises and vows. So these are not to be made lightly, because anything indicated by this rune is of a firm and unbreakable nature, right? This is talking about bond that is made. It cannot be broken anymore without really, truly serious consequences. So, of course, example of that will be wedding vows, right? So aspect of that meaning of Tivaz, it's kind of like to signify lasting bonds of love. So we have upright and reverse situation, and you guys got the upright meaning. So in this particular case, this is a really masculine rune, and as you can see, it kind of has this phallic shape, and this phallic shape we also see on our military, because of course they are, well, dicks, right? So kidding, this rune is favoring men, basically, because of the shape rather than women. But if women are basically connecting to this in this reading, that would mean that the answer and the solution will be extremely passionate, right? And this is really connected to somebody who is very handsome man for women, right? And somebody who will love you really fiercely. And of course it's talking about sex, but there also could be jealousy and domination over here. So it's everything. This is also talking about paperwork, legal issues, legal disputes. However, it's going to be resolved in your favor or favorably, right? So it also can talk about physical victory, especially if you're in the sports or some kind of competition. That's basically going to be really good. And what is really good about this rune is like that is telling you that you should hold onto your sense of conviction. So as long as you believe in your heart, in your lion heart, that you're doing and what you're doing is right, you will really have the strength of purpose to succeed in all your endeavors. So kind of like take it and think through it. It's kind of like really, really important. Now you got, in terms of like earth, basically oracle cards, cave, Dreamtime, eagle, and Gaia. The first thing that I've noticed about it, they were like actually an alphabetical order. So cave over here, it's kind of really interesting. It is kind of like that space and time where it's basically telling us that we really need to go deep inside and maybe be on our own. Practice kind of like self-orientation, right? And you know, you guys need to enhance your natural sense of peace, right? And that's not being a lion roaring, but being a lion who is enjoying the coziness of a fire and sort of like a night coming up, right? So this is asking of you to find your own sanctuary, to kind of like really go deep inside, disconnect from all this modern technology, and kind of like going deep where, you know, you can bridge this connection between internal and external, right? So basically almost like facilitating a spiritual communion that kind of allows you to be aligned in a kind of like very non-superficial way with a higher kind of like being. So it is especially really important to do that in this like really busy world. So this is kind of asking you first to kind of disconnect and disengage, and then I don't know what's going on this time around. Like so many signs are getting this dreams time, and I shuffle cards quite a bit, and this is kind of like really lovely because few signs have already gave me the input. Especially thank you everybody from Australia, because I know this is kind of like a story from the aborigines of Australia, because I've seen this basically performance online, right? Because for them, this Dreamtime is a place that actually exists before time and outside of time, in which ancestral spirit beings come to earth and they give life to all forms, as we can see it here, right? So once when the work was done, the spirit actually remained present in the forms they created, which is the animals, hills, stars, any other feature that is like feature of the land, right? And they continue to be present today, right? So this Dreamtime is an individual or group spiritual template, right? And that includes stories and songs that have been passed on and on and on for over like 60,000 years, right? Even though the Aboriginals are saying these stories are existing even before the time existed, right? So I think this instrument is a hollow log. It's called didgeridoo, and I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing it well, but yeah, it told me it has a different names. So basically here it's basically something that emits a droning sound when played. It's like a horn, right? But it has like really full hollow sound. Just like listening to it, it creates different vibration. And you know, guys, if you follow me, I'm all about vibration, right? I do also Reiki sessions that are not just Reiki, and it, I think, has to be, when you heal somebody, when you're trying to get somebody to the next level, has to be more than just laying on hands. So raising vibration, changing vibration, we are attuned to a different level. We respond to different things and we don't respond to certain things. So it's always nice to kind of like move in that kind of like different direction. So this is basically definitely time about calling you to change your vibration. And in this particular card is calling through breathing, right? Because the breathing is a crossover between spirit and physical reality. And that kind of helps you align. In some spiritual traditions and traditions, basically you're told that through breathing you can enter the special consciousness, that you have to look for the space between the words, and that's when you enter, right? So this is also asking you to take basically risks of manifestation, meaning, you know, it's some kind of self-expression. Maybe you're going to start creating something else. Maybe you are going to get in touch with this land and things around you and actually start receiving messages that are coming your way. Because something definitely will be. The next card here is Eagle. Look at that. It's the light. It's kind of like looking from the above. So look, we have the man and the eagle, and they're like actually making contact, right? And again, this is more than just like eye to eye. This is definitely lots of thought that is placed in this moment, right? So I would say it's some kind of like spiritual kinship that kind of connects them, right? So there is possibility that you will start feeling special messages coming from, I don't know, plants, animals, other human, something that you're going to feel, it almost like connects you with them on a completely different level. I will tell you what happened to me. I had a really dream that kind of took me to a really small place that I rented years ago, and it was identical in my dream, but it was not the same place. It was somebody else, and she had a huge fireplace at one wall that had two plants that she was explaining to me. Oh, well, you know, I just bought this as a spice, but it was growing, and look where it is right now. These were basil plants, and I actually do have a basil plant, as you can see here. And it's, of course, like, I mean, something that I'm thinking. So it was just kind of like really amazing for me to kind of realize that this actually basil probably has more importance, obviously, coming in my dream. So something like that probably would be happening to you, and it's kind of like understanding about another live beings. For example, this basil is right now not able, doesn't have the spine to support itself to grow further up. So the leaves are also falling, and usually you just cut them and you put them in a salad. And this time I'm almost like feeling sad about them falling, and I don't want to see them all shriveled, so I'm putting them in the water, and it's just like amazing. They just like jump to life, and they show you like, I mean, themselves in just like amazing glory. So I don't really know what that means yet. I'm certainly thinking there is like certain thing that will flourish, because I don't know if you can see this basil here. It's basically a flower that is like starting to grow out. So of course it's flowering if it's being taken care of, and I think in turn you guys also will be taken care of, because the very last card here is nurturing. It's Gaia. It's like kind of like really understanding of not only you, but out of everything that goes around you. And Gaia is talking about receiving. We all know that receiving is kind of hard. It's much easier to give and give and give. And some people give way too much. The truth is we have to find a balance. And it's good always to start from basically receiving end, right? Because the receiving is really what means that we need to be nurtured. So sometimes in conditioning that we receive in the childhood is like, oh, don't be selfish, don't ask, time for yourself, etc., etc., etc. But then eventually that kind of chips away on basically the statue of who you're building yourself into, right? So you have to really right now nurture yourself. This is really almost like a call. You will be getting all these visions, etc. So do not allow others to just take them away from you, right? Find that space, find this happiness for yourself, and consider all the actions that you're taking if they are self-nurturing. What comes to mind, guys, when you really think about doing beneficial things for yourself? Are you feeling selfish? Are you feeling that other people simply label you with something? No matter what, it is time for you guys to find activities or revisit activities that you loved, but for some reason you set aside. And this is almost like literally even asking the planet Earth to nurture you. So if you have ability to like touch the soil, that is going to be extremely, extremely beneficial for you, because all this kind of is telling me you're creating a new world. You are creating something that is going to be very, very fertile soil for you. So any kind of creation comes with pain. So this is basically talking about survival in the world where we live. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing the snake that is covered in clouds. It's a rattlesnake, as we see here. And we see a really nice, smiley person and somebody who is really, really ugly behind. So what is this all about? Which person is right? Is this the person or is this the person? Which one are you? You know, we always want to present really, really nice face. Just check any Facebook, any Instagram, any social media, any resume. We are all so perfect, right? We always have like, I mean, our hits. But we also all have ugly sides, don't we? We are trying to hide that ugly side from the world. Some people, unfortunately, don't even know about their ugly side. No, not me. I don't have it. No, I'm just perfect. Sure. So why don't I think the same? So sometimes there is like a fine line between what you think about yourself and what others think of you, because everybody has their own agenda. You have yours, they have theirs. So this is basically saying that you are really neither. You're not this pretty happy face and you're not this ugly face either. So we are always the balance. However, often we are forced to be in situations where we have to be fake, right? After all, personality comes from the Greek word persona, which means mask. We have to wear this mask. So I think, from what I see, that you are being asked not necessarily to shed the mask, but sort of like to balance out these two extremes. You guys are getting unhappy with This is not to say that you have an unhappy life, but like it looks like you're going to the higher level. You're like turning to yourself, to trusting yourself, to being who you are, to sort of like soar up, like get out of your shell. Because like there is like one way of existence where you're being pushed by everybody. Oh, you have to have the smiley face, you have to behave this way, don't do that, don't do that. It's sort of like all that software programming we get from religion, we get from our parents, we get from the place where we work, we get from our friends. And this basically is our morality, this is our world. Then we try to integrate with somebody else who had their own programming, their own stuff, their own things, and of course it's different. Unless you're like twins, that will be just really hard to kind of like mesh. So the conflict starts, and then pointing finger starts. This is asking of you to start actually looking up, being an eagle. Because in this very next card, look at how lovely this card is. So don't take it to the face value. Let me try to bring it closer here. And I did remove the zooming thing so not to bother as much, but this kind of is important. It's still not coming. Let me see this. Come on, clarify. Gosh. Okay. The point I'm trying to make, and I don't know how visible it is right now, is that these parts of the card, just the gray ones, are almost like a drawing, right? Where this is almost like a photography over here. So this woman in this picture is living in this kind of like gray landscape that is looking very unreal, almost like cartoon-like, right? But here she can see all the colors, right? And pretty much I think it's very clear that she wants to move through that frame, because look, she is actually waking up with color. We can see that on her dress, but she still cannot quite manage to do that because she has this what if going on, right? For her it's a lure, but tomorrow never comes, right? So this can be a feeling of incompletion. It could be feeling of being stuck, and it is also the feeling of understanding like what kind of relief it will happen if we kind of like spread our wings and just kind of go to this expansion, right? It's certainly kind of like postponement kind of a card, right? So make up your mind. Don't go further on postponing infinitely. Guys, this is definitely telling you that happiness is right there in front of you. So you don't want to go for it. That's kind of like your problem, right? Because the very last card here you're getting is Innocence. Innocence is generally your card. That's the card of the sun. In this card, it's a lovely card. It doesn't show that funny little child on a white horse, ridiculously happy. It's just like one of those cards in the regular tarot deck that I really dislike. I love it in this deck. It shows an old guy who is innocent. Guess what? My background is marketing and design. As you can see, I'm kind of really picky about the artwork on this channel. So one of the principles that you learn is KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And it's really difficult principle to achieve, because initially you start with, oh, I just put this and this and this and this and this, and then all of a sudden it becomes like you put every single kind of Christmas ball on a tree and everything looks ridiculous. The real style, the real elegance comes from choosing what you do. So this is talking about this KISS principle, kind of like shedding everything that is not needed and removing anything that is crazy and childish. Because feeling innocence is not feeling like child. Children are very, very demanding, and they're very selfish, and they're childish. Innocence is a quality that is timeless. It has nothing to do with if you're 5, 2, or 72. And also, this old guy is actually just like this guy over here, facing praying mantis. There is this moment of connection. Like, he doesn't have agenda.
Neither this one has agenda. And these colors here, again, are talking about communication, are talking about celebration of the moment, talking about kind of like really, really lifting up higher. So, looks like you might be, like this is almost like scratching the surface of something and wondering if you want to jump, if you don't want to jump, right? So, here you basically have the judgment card or renewal card in this sense. The wings are here, and you guys maybe want to make a drastic change in your life, but you don't know if you can take the risk. You don't know if the other party is completely honest toward you, and yet you want it. There is like that innocence in front of you. This is like your card. So this is again saying, you know, don't postpone. Dust off dreams that you have, that you abandoned, and find the courage to take a risk. This card is absolutely asking of you to do that. Major arcana, very important messages. And then you have a fortune cookie. Now, 10 of Pentacles is that like wonderful basically card, but don't think that this deck is like going to be the same interpretation as the other decks, because this is a law of attraction deck, and this definitely talks about something fortunate, inheritance, and this is kind of like more true to basically what 10 of Pentacles should mean. Sure, when the money meets family is where basically this card resides. So hence it can talk about inheritance and some kind of like winnings or liquidation. So this card can actually talk about change of residence and maybe new acquaintances. It could be something that is related to something from the past, something that has already worked really well, something from the times that when you were very happy. And then you are getting doubt cards, just like here. You're just like, I want it, and oh, I don't know if I can, right? Can I really stand on it? Am I really sure, right? So again, this card keep reinforcing that you need to put aside any hesitation, any uncertainty. And if need to be, wait patiently for the right time to arrive. Nothing important in life is basically obtained without patience. And that is really, really important for you. Lastly, really, really discouraging tarot. And I was thinking like, okay, these are really high-end messages and definitely show some kind of blockage that is calling you to kind of like remove and to create something that is going to be really beneficial to you and to your life. But it tells me there's like still need for admiration. Somebody needs to be admired. And maybe this is also talking about defending the position where you are. Oh, I achieved this level and I'm here and everybody else is there. No, but the things are continuously moving. Things are continuously changing. It just kind of like has to keep going. This talks about Knight of Swords, about possibly rush decision, maybe harsh words of some reason. Maybe it's a debate about somebody else. Maybe it could be even emotional contemplation or emotional manipulation. Maybe you are the one manipulating, maybe somebody else is manipulating in a situation as well. It's kind of interesting because Eagle is connected with Scorpio, and that kind of is a water sign as well. So I don't know if that kind of has additional meaning for some of you. But here there is like possibly a third person. That card here says, look, the worst is over. Just you face the opposition and they won. They did win. You're still dealing with some possible residues of rejection. This can indicate third party, both of them, somebody juggling two people. And that is kind of like really hurting you. Maybe you have something to say, or maybe you're just following your words over here. And kind of like you need your place under the sun with this card. And it looks like, again, talking about this patience, talking about kind of like, you know, dare to go in there. you will master courage to kind of like balance things out. Pentacles, especially Six of Pentacles, is talking about needing to find give and take that kind of works for everybody involved, right? It is a pentacle card, so it does talk about kind of ground rules. It talks about day-to-day life. So sure, we decide sometimes to live and marry somebody as you have it here. It looks like maybe you guys have been going through a whole bunch of trials and tribulations. And kind of like it felt that maybe your end point keeps being a moving target. And each time you do something, something else kind of jumps ahead and sidetracks you. So now it's the time to kind of like maybe take a different path. And this is saying, look, you have hesitated already. It is time to really feel with your heart, really go forward, really kind of go jump in, because this also, by the way, is the card of commitment, is this card of innocence. But unlike the rune, it doesn't favor men, right? And it is basically saying that sometimes we kind of poison our minds with everything that is coming from all the software, all this programming, and we need to kind of like defrag it. We need to decompress it, you know, reformat your hard drive, because that's when the innocence starts. You can again start to grow. You again kind of lifting yourself up on a higher level. So, my dear Leos, let's check yours Lenormand, just to see maybe a little bit more pragmatic approaches. And let's see what players, or what do I see as a possible things happening. So, Leo, October, 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 Leo, October. You have the snake, the house, and the tree. Now this is really hard to... The snake, oh, the cross, the karma. Again, it's kind of like really weird. I keep thinking Scorpio over here, but Scorpio has this like huge depth, right? Because Scorpio is represented with quite a few symbols, with scorpion, snake, fish, eagle, and phoenix, right? And the death card usually comes with Scorpio. This also could be religious factor. So this could be the third woman, or some person kind of like maybe who has the ability to interfere with your life. It could be your partner's ex with somebody who has children, somebody is married to, right? That kind of like would show as a home life. But even this person is not sure where they are. I see they have clouds. There's like some kind of like sneakery around this, and that kind of like is, to me, the same thing as kind of like this card here, right? So the situation needs to be resolved, needs to be kind of healthier, and the situation still has lots of things that are shadowy things, and things are not exactly as they appear in this situation. Meaning, you know, somebody can tell you, and you hear it all the time, your coworker, or never mind coworker, your Facebook friends, oh, they have such wonderful life. You have to see the last meal they had. You have to see every purse they bought. Like, if you're that happy, why are you wasting your time bothering with this, right? So this could actually really mean that there is like somebody who will be trying to convince you that certain things are going a certain way, but maybe that's not true. In fact, most likely it's not true. Yeah. Let's go with the 5, because I did it for everybody else with 5. A little bit shorter version of a grand tableau. I'm trying to get back on my rhythm to do this on time, and I'm slowly catching up, but not there yet. There we go. You have the ring again. Crossroads, and again with the clouds. Okay. Holy smoke. There is somebody else, guys. Neither you nor the partner came out. It kind of feels, and I guess that could explain everything else that we have seen, that you are driven by the circumstances this month and you have the potential to break through. But as long as you don't, and now this is a big sign of warning, as long as you don't create your own life and create the life you can nurture, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck until you spread your wings. So there is basically here something with the paperwork, documents, religion, marriage, relationships. There's a person here who is a mountain, meaning there is something that is a barrier. He or she is somebody that person have to kind of like walk around over and conquer. That person is, however, also dealing with the issues possibly of a marriage, and maybe marriage with a child, as we have seen there like as well. But this person is like fiercely loyal. So you know how sometimes, like, I mean, there are like 3 people involved, and we always, of course, we are the good party, they are the bad party, right? It's just because we are involved in that basically scenario, and we want to protect ourselves. But this is asking of you to actually really start seeing things as they are, not sort of a cartoon-like vision, the tunnel vision, 2D version of things. It's asking us to actually go in a 3D, to comprehend that not only we see it this way, but the others see it this way. And Innocence is exactly giving that quality back, where we do not just think me, 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 me. Let me show you my food. Let me show you myself on the Instagram. Who cares? Really simply, guys, you know, we have to collectively stop this social media craze, because it's giving us precedents we don't deserve, because we are putting out in the universe these horrible messages. So frankly, I will tell you what I see here, and you set me straight if you think it's differently, because I really have to interpret this the way I see it, because I see the locket, and I see the locket and the clock tower and the ring. So this person is torn between possible emotions and some kind of commitment. But this person still kind of doesn't know where she's positioning herself, wants to find the answers to it. When somebody shows up, neither of you showed up, and there is a third person that really dominates this reading, it tells me that if you have a partner, or whether you don't have a partner, there is an obstacle on your path. This might be you, it might be that repressed part of you that you haven't expressed, that you haven't really played upon. It could be some hesitation about moving forward in love. It could be conception issues, or, you know, feeling that somebody else has that you don't have. And this is simply saying that this kind of like thinking has to stop, because this is what the crossroads is saying here. And look, the crossroads say, okay, do you want to go back? If you go back, you're going back to these mountains, and you keep going circling around, going back in circles, right? Do you want to go here? Because then maybe you'll continue having this kind of foggy thinking and not knowing where you're going, not knowing really if you're committed or not. Or you're going to cut certain things off. And if you do, what's going to be? That's kind of going to be interesting. So, given that there are no significators, I want to see this ring. Is this you, or is it them, or is it some kind of like ring dangling? Because that was like our beginning over here. Somebody from the past. Somebody possibly, again, lots of people with gray hair coming up in this reading, or it could be somebody you guys been dealing with last winter, or maybe somebody coming up in this winter will actually result in commitment, in something long term. This is not a fast moving card, but it could indicate a reunion. This is a card of reunion in this deck. So what about this snake? Who is this person? Again, it could be male or female. That is somebody who is actually having a center stage. Somebody maybe who, that could not be the third person. It could be the main person, but it could be also somebody who is trying to take over your mate, or who is trying to kind of be really dominant in the thoughts. So what is this cross about? Because you see, cross and ring can mean marriage, right? Yeah, exactly. Somebody kind of like really wants to kind of like affirm their position over here. So what about these clouds here? You see, that's another uncertainty journal. It's basically talking that we just know what is really right in front of us. We see only these 2 pages, but we don't know what is before or after. This is talking about education, talking about discovery, right? Talking about study, right? But this is also talking about unknown. So this unknown in this case can be done with actually literally studying, not so much the communication, but kind of like really learning more about different issues. And the sickle, what's going to be cut? The tree. And the tree was the card that we got initially, right, as well. The tree definitely talks about growth. Something will not grow anymore. Tree also talks about health. And you see, this is kind of like being transplanted. So maybe this person is right now dominating your life, and maybe that kind of would explain that you had this kind of juggling and a third party and feeling defeated, kind of like feeling the rock bottom, right? Another person kind of like sort of like weaving your destiny and you feeling furious about it, and what about me? Now that card kind of like seemed to be oddly different in the end, and that's, now I know why, because actually this person is not even relevant, because you are making this relevant by actually keeping yourself imprisoned, thinking this person does have a power over you. So this person resides in this kind of area, and you have to kind of like go and fly. You don't really need to be anything special. You don't have to continue being super nice to win, or you don't have to be nasty to try to win. You have to just be yourself, because this is your card, guys. And this is the card that is clearly stating kind of like just be there with open heart and just continue going forward. So my Leo, well, it's going to be a long reading again. I said it to be under 30 minutes, but I guess it's going to be more. So I pulled one card and I really didn't like it. But I'm being honest, I'm being real with you. I will not lie to you and just like pull a syrupy card and say, well, this is what happened. You got rock bottom reversed. And I pull another card to clarify it later, so I'm going to do that later. So this is what it says. That's kind of like this card, right? So now this is kind of telling me, you know, it's kind of like really signifying kind of like this is really important. So this is what it says. Surrender and acceptance are keys to freedom. Reversed. Reversed, this card is the symbol for addiction in all forms, subtle or obvious. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, will never provide you with what you desire. At this moment, there is nowhere else to go, and you're facing the end of the road. If you fear change, be willing to change. Surrender your wants to a higher power. Ask for truth and allow humility to be your guiding force from within. You will always get what you need. You are only a victim of your perception. You are only a victim of your perception. Take heart, because you can't sink any further. The only way to go from here is up, and wondrous things await you. And the clarification, so you see everything is telling you have to burst out of that matrix. In a box, you're in a box, you're in a box, don't be in a box. And looks like sometimes rejection is needed to kind of like push it out. It almost like looks like you're in a pressure cooker and you're coming out. And the second card was listening. And it says, an open heart will hear the message. When this card appears, you're being reminded there is a time to speak and time to be silent. I always say we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. The reason for that is like we have to listen twice as much. Pay attention not only to what is being spoken, but also to what is not being said at the moment, for the deeper message is not always obvious. Listen with your heart, not just with your ears, and you will find clarity. Receiving the listening card is a fortunate sign and ensures a greater understanding of your circumstances. So guys, you have like a really, really interesting reading. It's really almost pushing you to become the best you can be. Like, I mean, getting a fortune cookie is a biggie, and this is a good fortune cookie. And I don't know if I can even read it. I can read it. It says love, and then you got this, love. So guys, fight for it. You are creating barriers that actually are not there. That's what I see, but they are very real in your own head. You don't even realize that you can actually create your own reality. You, Leos, can create your own reality. It is time to nurture yourself. It looks like you have dedicated quite a bit and gave your power away. It is time to soar, and it's time to create your own life. Leos, love to hear from you. Love to hear your roar, and love you to tell me, hey, I am becoming this eagle. I'm soaring, I'm creating. And guys, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Also, either give me your like or dislike. Either way, I'm fine. And for your private reading, to really see your personal circumstances with your personal vibrations, please contact me at www.cattarot.ca, and we can arrange some personal readings for you. So thank you so much for listening. I wish you all the best. You know, every kind of like birth is painful, but then like what comes out is beautiful. So just keep looking at this end goal, guys. You're going to get there very soon. Love you, Leos.